Yeah, okay, looks like we got it. So it is 2 o'clock. Kaylin and Alyssa, maybe can you turn on your screens and we'll get started. I'm not sure who all is going to join us, but I want to keep this with the time that's available. So yeah, I'll say Paula, thanks, Paula, and your colleagues and student Lily, thanks for joining or setting this up. And maybe you can, I'm going to keep in the background mostly. So basically just what you tell prospective students, and Kaylin and Alyssa, this is your chance. Listen, ask questions. You're both juniors. Alyssa, are you junior as well? Yeah, so both juniors thinking about applying to schools. So this is your chance to have direct access to people who you might be interested in.
Yes, well, thank you for setting us up and for recording it and sharing it with whoever might be interested down the road as well. I'm going to share my screen. We have just a few PowerPoint slides we thought would be relevant. And Dr. Sibla, I'll let you introduce yourself while I go ahead and share the screen here.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming, everybody. My name is Dr. Janine Sibla, and I am the chair of the Occupational Therapy Program. I'm based out of Bismarck, but I oversee, Dr. Kitzenberg is the program director in Billings, and then I oversee the administrative piece. I'm also the associate dean of the St. Gianna School of Health Sciences on the health profession side. So we're going to tell you a little bit about UMary, about our program. I'm excited that you're all juniors because we have a really, really new and innovative way that you can apply for our program, and it won't cost you $150, only $50, and you will find out very soon if you're in or not. So with that, we'll get started. If you want to advance the slide, I'll tell you a little bit about the University of Mary. First of all, I've been at the university for over 20 years. I started out as a faculty member and have been the program chair for a very, very long time. The program's grown a lot since at the time I've been there. So the University of Mary itself, I'm not sure if that UMary slide can come up or not. Oh, Dr. K's muted.
What slide do you want?
So the one with University of Mary on it, the second slide.
Oh, you don't see that. Okay, that's what I'm showing on mine. Let's go from over here. How about now?
Perfect, there we go.
Okay.
So the school was founded in 1959 by the Sisters of Annunciation Monastery. The sisters actually live just right down the hill from us. They are a really neat, innovative, courageous group of women. They came to Dakota Territory when it was still a rough and wild place, and started a Catholic grade school the day after they got here, and eventually moved into wanting to help with areas of healthcare and education more. So they became, we started as Mary College and then became University of Mary. We are faithfully Christian, joyfully Catholic, and gratefully Benedictine. So we're a Benedictine college. Our values that we live and are a part of who we are is community, hospitality, moderation, prayer, respect for persons, and service. And I always say those values fit so good for us because that's what makes a really, really, really good OT. Who doesn't want an OT that's respectful and that tries to help people with moderation and builds community and is hospitable to their patients, and on the list goes. So the next slide is a little bit about us, as we are just naming our school officially October 4th. And St. Gianna, if you aren't familiar with her, she is a modern day saint. She was alive in the 50s. And really, her whole thing is about dignity of the human person and dignity of life. And her daughter is actually coming to campus October 4th. So we are super excited about that. But our mission is to prepare healthcare providers or professionals who are anchored in moral courage, who respect and defend the dignity of the human person. So what's that have to do with OT? How does that relate to OT? So when we think about OT, I think about all of the things that we do that have so much dignity attached to them. For example, if you're going to go out to dinner tonight with your friends, do you want one of your friends to have to feed you? Do you want to be able to go to the bathroom by yourself? Do you want to drive yourself places? Those are all things about maintaining our dignity. And so how do we help people do those things? We have lots of programs, undergrad and graduate. Nursing, OT, PT, speech and language path, and athletic training are all graduate programs on campus. We do have an exercise physiology program as well. That's a hybrid program. We have exercise science, respiratory therapy, and rad tech. Our dean is Dr. Mary Doctor, who is a PT by background. So more specifically about OT itself, we started in 1996 as a bachelor's program and quickly moved into the master's degree level. In 2013, we started our program in Billings, Montana. We were the only OT program in Montana. Our mission at the university is to serve the people of this region and beyond. And we knew that there was significant shortages of therapists in Montana. And we thought we could help with that as a university. And we had a very small school there already with business. And so we jumped on the bandwagon, and we've been there a long time. A lot of people don't know that, but we have been there a very long time. Have a lot of our grads have stayed in the Montana area. In 2018, we started the doctoral programs in Billings, Bismarck, and we also added our Fargo location. And in 2020, we had our full accreditation of our doctoral programs, which is the first in North Dakota and Montana. So we're really proud of what the work that we do and how we serve the state of Montana. As I said, we have 3 locations. Bismarck, we take 38 students. We have 4 full-time faculty. We connect via Zoom to Fargo. So Fargo takes 12 students. We have 2 full-time faculty. In Billings, we have 16 students. We can go up a little bit from there if we decide we really need to. We have 4 full-time faculty that are in Billings with a very broad range of practice, from pediatrics to rehab to geriatrics, hospital-based, all just neuro rehab all over. So we have a nice variety, people that are been in education a little bit longer and some that are really new. And we collaborate across the board with all of our, so the people that teach pediatrics, there's 3 or 4 of them from each, looking at all our sites together, and they work together to develop a really top-notch product and delivery system of our curriculum. So what happens in Bismarck is pretty much the same as what happens in Billings and what happens in Fargo. As I did say, we are fully accredited by the Accreditation Council for OT Education. You do have to attend accredited school in order to sit for your final certification exam. So we got through with as many years accreditation as we could and no areas of non-compliance. So what does it take to get into our school or into our program? You need to have a 3.0 cumulative GPA. We have a very short list of prerequisite courses. You need Intro to Psych, Developmental or Lifespan Psychology, and Abnormal Psychology. You need statistics, and that can come from math or psychology. You can take chemistry or physics, either one. It depends on your preference or your interest. And you need your lab with that one. And then anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. So you may have an anatomy class and a physiology class. Some combine AMP1 and AMP2, and of course that's with labs as well, and a 3.0 GPA. We ask that you do 20 hours of volunteer or observation with an OT. Sometimes that's been a little tough in the pandemic, so we work with folks on that. So if you're having trouble, don't let that sway you from applying. You need 3 letters of recommendation, and you write a personal statement as well. We have different ways that you can enter our program. This is what I was really excited about sharing with you. So as a junior, you can apply directly to University of Mary. So if you go on to our website and you search occupational therapy, a ways down the page, you'll see early assurance or early admissions and priority admissions. As a junior, you can apply now. We go through your application. We will accept you. You make the deposit of $500, and then we defer you for 1 year. So next summer, we start in the summer with an online class. Next summer, you're in, you know what's going on. That way you aren't, am I going to get in? What's going to happen? That kind of thing. If you wait until you're a senior, then you go through the standard admissions process, which is through the OT Centralized Application System, or OTCAS. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of OTCAS. It's a national application system. The application process, once you receive your application, we review that, and then it includes an interview with an OT faculty member. We want to offer you an opportunity to interview us, as well as an opportunity for us to get to know you and to tell you more about our program as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kitzenberg so she can tell you all about the Montana location and what's going on over there.
All right, sounds good. So why choose the UMary OTD program? And I think there's just a few things we want to highlight for you that I think make our program unique and I think makes us a really excellent program. First one there, we focus on educating competent occupational therapists through hands-on learning, including a student pro bono clinic at all locations and community-based fieldwork experiences. I can guarantee you there's no other program that will provide you with more clinical experience than we do. From the time you start the program, you come on campus in September. By October 1st, I teach a class and we bring babies into the building and we do wellness assessments on babies. So you'll have a hands-on experience from literally the first month that you're there. It's my favorite day of the whole year, I have to say that. And so we have patients, clients coming in, and the pro bono clinic is something really unique we offer here in Montana. We really, in all sites, we provide this service to our community as kind of we're trying to meet a need for clients that maybe don't have enough insurance or aren't making enough progress for insurance. We don't want to compete with the clinics that, take our students and are so good to us. But we want to get our hands on clients who need extra help. And so both semesters of your second year on campus, we run a student-run clinic. The students provide all the intervention with faculty right there to help in case you need us, right? We don't let you fail. We might let you get a little frustrated. That's okay. We want you to have those experiences, but we're there to kind of guide those initial clinical experiences. And what we're hearing from our students is that they feel more prepared to go out and to do their fieldwork. And we're hearing from fieldwork educators that our students are coming out more confident. And we think a lot of it has to do with that pro bono clinic, that free clinic that we run, because they get a lot of hands-on experience before they even start their fieldwork. So here are just a few pictures of all the hands-on experience we have. I also want to say this picture also demonstrates our emphasis on service. A lot of universities include service as a part of their mission, but we're really serious about it here at the University of Mary. I feel strongly that here in Billings, the community has been so good to us that we need to give back. And so our students plan service projects almost every month. Just this past week, we partnered with the Parks and Rec Department and did some cleanup at one of our local cemeteries. Next month, we are hosting a Easter egg hunt for kids with special needs in our community. My favorite event was we had a Sensory Santa event at Christmas time where we brought a Santa in and kids with special needs were able to come and get a picture taken with Santa in a really quiet, private environment, which is just so much fun. So service is a big part of what we do. The first Wednesday in October, we cancel all classes at every campus and we have a day of service. Faculty and students alike go out and do a service project. This last year, we went to the animal shelter here in Billings and did some work for them. And surprisingly, no one left with a pet. I thought for sure we would, someone would leave with a new cat or a dog.
I want to comment real quick, Dr. Kitzenberg, on that slide on the bottom corner.
Here?
It looks like that. Yeah, it looks like a cadaver that is not a cadaver.
Oh, yeah.
That's called a syndaver. It's a synthetic cadaver. And we have those at each of our locations so that you still have that opportunity. Sometimes people are like, well, I really want to learn on a cadaver. It's the same thing, except it is synthetic. It's syndaver. We got those through a grant from Cargill. Each syndaver is worth over $40,000. They're very expensive. We could have never afforded them without Cargill. So shout out to them. And students have the opportunity to work on them, and they don't get gross and yucky like cadavers do either.
They also
Not your-
smell a lot better.
They do smell better. Yeah, Lily, I think that's your picture there, working with this endeavor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, Lily is one of our current students. I asked her to join us in case you had questions that were more appropriate for a student perspective. So yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. So another reason to choose University of Mary, and this is one that's near and dear to my heart, is that we have a variety of level 1 fieldwork opportunities in community-based programs, mental health, and an optional fieldwork experience in Peru. We actually have 2 service opportunities in Peru. One is at the end of your first year on campus, and that's what both of these pictures are. We have partnered with a school in Lima, Peru, where kids go. They all have physical disabilities, a lot of spina bifida, CP, traumatic brain injuries, and of course, unknown diagnoses. And we partner, and the students spend a week there. And they also partner with the local hospital as well while they're in Lima. Another opportunity to go to Peru is after your second year on campus. And this is a program that I organize, and it's a medical mission. And this time we fly into Lima, but then we fly into Cusco and take a 6-hour bus trip up into the Andes Mountains. And Lily and I are both leaving May 1st to go on that trip. And we literally serve the villages up there and meet their needs. Sometimes we'll have clinics. We're helping a local community kind of set up a rehab center that where individuals with disabilities can go and exercise. It's also being set up as kind of a community center where people with individuals with disabilities can socialize or learn a trade. And then this year, because the country's just opening up, we'll be doing a lot of home visits. So again, it's an opportunity. The medical mission's a little different because all disciplines go. This year we have students from PT, OT, nursing, respiratory therapy, exercise science, social work, and engineering. And the engineering team is actually helping the sisters up there build their project as they're building a chicken coop. So Lily and I may end up helping with that a little bit as well. So again, hopefully you can see we take service pretty serious. This is just another opportunity for service. Which leads into this next slide. Why choose UMary? Because we learn alongside other disciplines such as PT, nursing, speech, and language pathology. On campus, those disciplines, those students work together quite a bit. Here in Billings, since we don't have those other disciplines, we bring in professionals from the community to work with us or to consult on different projects or assignments. And so again, the Billings community has been really good to us. And so I have some speech therapy friends, some physical therapy friends who will come in and help create those interdisciplinary experiences.
There is an interdisciplinary course that every student takes, and that is with other disciplines as well. And there's also a strong bioethics component to that as well. So.
Yep. And also when we present our research at the end of the program, we do that as a whole School of Health Science. And so all disciplines will be represented at that time as well. So another reason to choose UMary is because of our dedicated and caring faculty that have a broad range of practice areas, which Dr. Sidla mentioned. I think one of the benefits of coming to Billings is it is a small cohort. It's 16 students. I tease the students when they come in the morning, they have a lunch bag for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? They just show up and they stay all day. They get to know each other as a class really well. It's a family atmosphere. We have potlucks for birthdays, and we just kind of take care of each other. And we have 4 faculty in Billings, as we mentioned, and we get to know the students really well because they're there all the time, right? So it really is a family atmosphere. And we do have just a wide variety of interests, everything from pediatrics to neuro to administration, right? Where all our professional interests are really broad and can align with the student interests really well.
When I do my student assessment on their satisfaction, faculty is the #1 thing they say that is the best thing about our program. We really emphasize all over the University of Mary relationships and relationships with our students. wanted to just mention the mentoring that you can get. Really, you get mentoring through your advising. So you have a week, yearly, every semester, a professional skills evaluation that you complete and your faculty complete, and talk about what your goals are, what your strengths, how we can help you grow. You also do research in a small group, and so that's another opportunity that you work with your faculty, and then on your doctoral capstone. So we'll talk about those things in depth a little bit more, but those are 3 different touch points where you are working really closely with faculty.
Mhm. Yeah, and I also think a lot of the service projects we do is another great opportunity for mentoring and collaboration and relationship building. Lily and I were working in the cemetery together this last weekend, and there's just, some bonding that happens when you're doing service together as well. Fieldwork. I wanted to talk about fieldwork. One thing that's really unique about our program is we do intentional matching for fieldwork, that we really get to know our students. Our fieldwork coordinators are also really dedicated to knowing the fieldwork sites and whether they're fast-paced, whether they're pediatrics, adults, and we really try to match our students' interests and strengths with the fieldwork sites. We have close to 300 fieldwork sites across the nation. And so students are given a full list of all the sites. They also can go on this site and see feedback that's been provided from other students about that site. And then they give us, I think, their top 10. Is that right, Lily? Top 10, okay. And then I don't know how our fieldwork coordinators do it. It's this massive Sudoku puzzle, but they look at all the sites and the students' requests and make matches. I know some universities are random. I know some universities you walk in, you draw a bowl, like I'm going to Nebraska, and but we really want to be intentional about our matching and make sure that that people get the experience that they want. There was 100% placement of our fieldwork sites during 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic. And we're really proud to say that 100% of our students are graduating on time. Very few universities can say that across the nation. Our fieldwork coordinators have been working overtime to find placements in the middle of the pandemic. And there's been lots of cancellations and then lots of phone calls, right, to make that all happen. So our fieldwork locations are across the US. Our alumni are really good to us and they stay in touch. We have sites in Alaska, and we have sites in Florida, and every place in between. So if there's an experience you want out there, we'll make that happen. You also do have the option of establishing, if there's a clinic that you worked with and have some strong connections with, and you want that experience, we do have a process in place where you can establish your own fieldwork as well. Dr. Silva touched on this a little bit. We also have a really strong emphasis at the University of Mary of professional development. We want you to be good clinicians, but we want you to be professional clinicians. We want you to have those, what I refer to as soft skills, right? We want you to be professional and be able to communicate and have stress management. And so once a semester, we do semester evaluations where the students will do a self-assessment of how they're doing with those professional skills. We'll provide them with some feedback and we'll write some goals together as to how to address some of those professional skills, because we don't want you to go out without that professionalism. Fieldwork educators out in the clinics, they're usually really okay teaching clinical skills. What they don't want to deal with is unprofessional behavior. And so we make sure that we work out all those bugs and get you really ready for fieldwork from a professional development perspective as well. Research, we have a really strong research program. You will complete a full research study from start to finish, from brainstorming ideas all the way to research presentations. A number of our posters and presentations have been selected to be presented at national forums. The faculty have some research interests that they'll bring forward. A lot of times it's just kind of a vague idea of what we'd like to study. And then the students kind of take it and run with it and develop a research project. This semester, our first year students are kind of developing their ideas. This summer, they'll be developing and writing their IRB, their research proposal. They can't leave campus until that proposal has been submitted to our IRB. They'll come back in the fall, assuming the IRB approved their study, and they'll implement the research. And then this semester, Lily's class, they are busy writing their research paper, preparing their presentation and their poster. So it really, we do take research from start to finish in the program.
This week is the National Occupational Therapy Conference from the American Occupational Therapy Association, and 4 student projects are being presented this year at the national level. So anywhere from 4 to 6, we present quite a few, and some are presented in the fall as well.
And some are presenting at other conferences as well. So we have a very polished research curriculum, that is for sure. We're really proud of it. And the doctoral capstone experience is the last thing I want to talk about. This was a new addition to our curriculum when we transitioned from the master's to the doctorate. And I have to be honest, I was pretty hesitant. I was kind of dreading it. It felt like a big headache and another fieldwork, but it has been so fun to see what the students come up with. The doctoral capstone is something the students develop based on an interest of theirs. They develop the idea, they find a community partner where it can be implemented. And we as faculty are just sort of mentors, making sure that what they're doing makes sense and is reasonable, and you can get it done in 14 weeks. And we have a focus on providing services to underserved populations, but there has to be a producible as a part of the capstone. So it can be research, it can be a new program, it can be educational handouts, it can be a new website, but there has to be something that you leave with the community partner. And it's been super fun to see what the students come up with.
A really neat example I can share right now. This is my favorite part of the program. I too was pretty hesitant about it, and I absolutely love seeing the program students come up with. One of the students in Montana is with the Great Falls Police Department and has developed educational pieces about different disabilities, has developed a registration form for people with disabilities to be able to fill out and turn in so that the police department and first responders know how to interact with that person, whether they have autism or they're maybe have a hearing deficit or vision impairment, those kinds of things. And also is working with the mental health court. I just got a text message from, it just happens to be that her mentor at the site is a high school classmate of mine. And he said, boy, she's killing it out here. I really wish I could hire her. Very non-traditional role for an OT, but I know they'd keep her if they could.
Yeah, and we hear that so often. We have a student right now too that's working with the Parks and Rec department and going around in Billings and doing accessibility assessments on all the local parks. And so they can provide that information to families, where to take kids for all sorts of reasons. And so, and they said the same thing too. It's like, oh, it's like they just barely scratched the surface of what they need to do. So it's been great. Lily, do you want to share what your capstone is going to be about? I think yours is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I am working with Special Olympics Montana with their Young Athletes program, which is a program designed to teach sports skills to kids from the ages of 2 to 7 years old. And so I'm actually going to be working with a couple of the Billings elementary schools with their special education preschools and just running this adaptive PE and adaptive sports program with them. And so it's all about teaching these kids basic sports skills that they're going to need to be able to participate on sports teams in the future. And with this program, I'm also going to be doing some research. I'm actually meeting with Special Olympics North America on Thursday to talk about doing research for them and them using the research that I develop. And so I know Dr. K is actually my mentor for this program, and all of the faculty are just amazing at helping you kind of taking what your interests are, taking what you like and what you want to do, because I love working with kids. And so this is something I wanted to do, and they want to help you find a way to explore your interests and to develop programs based on what you want to do. And so it just makes it just super fun, super enjoyable, and you really are in the driver's seat, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, and again, it's just been so fun to see what the students come up with. So that is all that we have prepared to talk about. I'll stop sharing and see what kind of questions you all have.
We have him.
I have a couple of questions. I'm actually currently on a PT path for physical therapy. So I'm just kind of seeing what the differences are and learning my options. My sister's actually going to Rocky for OT. We're only 4 years apart, so I've got a lot of kind of back and forth stuff going on. But I don't know if you guys have ever heard of hippotherapy. But have you heard of it? You look like you have. Yeah, okay. So I like that's my goal. That's what I want to do, and I'm trying to figure out like which path would be better for me, PT or OT, because the majority of clients are going to be either disabled pediatrics or I would like to learn how to use more general orthopedics in it as well. But yeah, I'm not sure which way would be the better route there.
Well, I think either route for hippotherapy, you can go either. Both PTs and OTs can be certified in hippotherapy. I actually just am finishing a research study. Well, I just finished reading the paper before we came on.
Awesome.
We actually were working with EGALA. I'm not sure if you're familiar with EGALA. Yep.
Yeah.
We worked last summer with an EGALA program, my research team and I, and we did a pre-test, post-test kind of outcome study based on caregiver perspectives as well as student performance. And it was super fun. And so there's all kinds of different ways you can use animal assisted therapy or equine assisted therapy. And I have connections to a hippotherapy program here in town. I just got an email from them. We're trying to set something up, but also connections to EGALA. And actually one of Lily's classmates is going to do his capstone with EGALA, and he's going to set up a program for veterans using
awesome.
the EGALA model. So we have some really strong connections
Yeah.
to the horse community here in the area.
Yeah.
And
well, go ahead.
From our Bismarck program, we have a few grants.
I don't know. Did you need any other clarification? I think the other thing I'd say I also was on the PT path for years.
Yeah.
And I've had a number of orthopedic challenges, to say the least. And I would spend my time in PT, and I kept looking across the room and saying, those folks are having more fun than I'm having. And that was the OT. So that was the OT.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so I gravitated. Yeah.
So what did you see that was like more engaging in OT versus the PT?
You know, I think a couple things. The first thing that was a better match for me in OT was I had so much opportunity to be creative. It's less structured. There's just the opportunity to sit back and brainstorm. I work in pediatrics, and so just the opportunity to use play as a modality to focus on all the fine motor things, but through play. We had last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, Lily, we had a bunch of adaptive equipment, assistive technology things that we could just sit and brainstorm and just creatively consider how could we use this with our clients. And so that kind of creativity is something I think really unique to OT.
Okay.
I
The second
think,
go ahead.
I think the other part of it is OT really looks at the doing part of things. I heard a speaker once who he was an OT, but he was a both arms upper extremity amputee. And he said, an OT is the one who taught me how to dance, how to date, how to make people comfortable in social situations. Another one that you hear sometimes is that a PT teaches you how to ambulate stairs so you can go up and down and get on a bus. But the OT teaches you how to count your money, how to make sure you can read a map, how to understand what's appropriate socially to do on a bus. And so it's the doing part of things. I always tell my students, just because your patient can get their arms over their head does not mean they can get their shirt on.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
very holistic, and we're always looking at tasks and analyzing a task. And so even something as simple as brushing your teeth, there's a lot of judgment on how hard you have to squeeze the paste so you don't end up with a mess. Anyone who's watched little kids before knows what happens, right? And so how
Yeah.
long to brush and all those kinds of things are things that an OT is looking at. Want to just mention one more thing about hippotherapy is that we also have some grads of our program who are very involved in hippotherapy. Lily's right in the middle of writing a program development project. I actually had a student who wrote her whole entire project on hippotherapy and took that project to the bank 2 years after graduation and started her program.
Really?
So,
Okay. So
yeah.
do you know of Two Bear? The
I
Two
don't.
Bears? Okay, so that's actually a therapeutic clinic in Billings.
Okay, most of them I know are in Bismarck. So
Oh, okay.
our surrounding areas, that's where I'm located, but I can put you in contact with any of those therapists as well.
Yeah.
Dr. K has a lot of them. There's also an OT in the Bismarck area that does, she runs what's called Providence Ranch, and she works with kids that have emotional and behavioral disturbances and how working with horses can help them grow in their own self-esteem, self-confidence, leadership skills, those types of things as well.
Yeah. So
And what was the clinic? What was the clinic you mentioned, Keelan?
It's Two Bear. It's Two Bear Therapeutic Writing in
Oh
Billings.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those folks.
Yeah,
I was
so I've
also gonna-
contacted a couple of them to see what
Yeah.
they got going on over there.
And McCord is another one that
What is
we
it?
McCord. The
How do you
McCord,
spell that?
M little C, big CORD.
Okay.
Yep. And then we work with Chinook horses is
Okay.
who I did my research with. And I was also
Very
going to say, we have a student actually doing his level 2 fieldwork, so a 12-week fieldwork at a hippotherapy clinic in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
that's where Andrew is going for his whole summer. And so
Yeah.
we have a lot of opportunities like that. And the other thing I was going to say about why I chose OT is because I get to work on the things that are important to the people. Like when I meet with my clients, whether they're adults or kids or their caregivers, I'm like, what is it that's important to you? And that question is uniquely OT,
Yeah.
right? That's uniquely OT. I get to, and because of that, I think we get to know our patients so much better. We get to just form a relationship with them because I am helping them. You know, I have a little guy right now that we're working on potty training. So that's what's making mom crazy, you know? And so you get to work on the things that are important to them. Those are their occupations. And that's what we do. That's what we're about. And so it's so functional. And within that, you get to be creative. And it was just a perfect combination for me. That's for sure.
Well, and it seems like it's definitely more of an experience rather than a job. Like just looking at you guys and how you're looking at your job, it seems like it's really shaped you as a person.
Absolutely. It's a calling.
Yeah.
It's a vocation, definitely. You're called to help people to live life that is meaningful and purposeful and that can be rewarding for them regardless of their abilities.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, of course. Any other questions? Or Lily, anything else you want to add from a student perspective?
I mean, is there anything anybody wants to know about student perspective?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna ask you, Lily, kind of like what your typical day looks like and just like how do you balance like your school and like non-school life, and are you able to like work, like just kind of the logistics of how that all works out for you?
Yeah, no, that's super important to know. Well, today we had class at 8, 8 to noon, and then we had our pro bono clinic right afterwards. So we met with our client, did our intervention. Today was actually our discharge day, so we gave them our home program and kind of described like some stuff that they might want to start working with in the future or They might want to see if they can go into OT again and talk about these different types of goals. And then after this, I'll probably go home and make some dinner and then start doing some studying because we have Dr. K is giving us a test tomorrow. But I won't say that it's easy. It's definitely not something that you can just like say whatever to and get through and do, but all the professors do so much to help you and to make sure that everything is working well, that your classes are matching up, that you're not being overwhelmed or overloaded. Like, we talked with one of our professors today about moving up one of our tests so that we don't have to do 3 different tests during finals week. And he was just like, yeah, we can totally do that. Like, this is a day that we have time to do that. And so the professors work so much to make sure that you are doing okay and that you are making it and not having burnout or not like freaking out because you have so much stuff due. Like, they do the most they can to make sure, and having your classmates here is super good because you can work with them on projects, you can discuss things with them and make sure that you're not kind of flying solo on everything and have no idea what you're doing. I think most of the people in our class have some sort of job. Like, I work on the weekends and it's super manageable to work on the weekends. We make sure that we always have class pretty much in the mornings or early afternoons. And so you have the whole rest of the day. If you choose to work during the week, you can work during the week. I know at least over in Billings, we don't have classes on Fridays usually. So Friday kind of turns into a great homework day, or if you have to do group meetings, you can do stuff in group meetings, and it's really nice to sleep in on Fridays. But like, it's definitely not something that will be easy, but it's something that it will not be like unbelievably difficult, the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life. Like, oh my gosh, so overwhelmed. I had no idea like what I was getting into. Like, it was the perfect, we talk about this all the time in classes. It's the just right challenge where you feel like it's tough, you're getting through it, but it's nothing that you can't do. And even if you start feeling overwhelmed, all professors' doors are open. You can always talk to them and just say like, hey, I need some help with this, or hey, I'm having trouble understanding this. And they will, any of them, even if it's not even for their class, you can ask them about it and they'll be like, well, let me look at like the rubric and then like, I'll see what I can do, or like see what I can help you with, or like try and explain something. So it's a great environment, great atmosphere.
We don't typically recommend people working more than about 20 hours a week. If they work more than that, there's been some that have done it and have survived, but they didn't look good during the process. So
It did not thrive.
there was no occupational balance in their life whatsoever.
It's
we recommend about 20 hours a week or less.
It's helpful if you have a job that has some flexibility as well. So if you have a big assignment or something coming up, those hours can be flexible to other days, that kind of thing. I would say the biggest thing about the Billings community, I love going to Billings. I feel like I'm a guest when I go there, which is just crazy, is the sense of community is so strong there that really helps people with their overall well-being, their mental health, their commitment to the program. And I just see those students being so tight and working and just like they're all going to get through together. So when it's tough, they really rely on one another and the faculty.
I'm gonna
Go ahead.
mention something, Paul. I think was you when we talked, and I'm glad we talked about that. You've talked about the great things about the program, but you also said that there were some financial benefits, or that even just the cost of attending school at University of Mary was perhaps a selling point at some level.
Yes. We've been told, and I haven't done any fact checking, but our college president is a priest and a Monsignor, and he claims, and I believe him, that we're the most affordable private university in the nation. I do know that we're significantly less expensive than a lot of the other OT programs in our area. So yeah, Lily, you have a comment on that?
Yeah, when I was applying for OT schools, University of Mary was by far the least expensive doctorate program that I could find. It was probably half the price of the majority of the other places, and it's the same if not better quality than anywhere else. So
here's some really exciting news. We froze our tuition for OT for next year. We as program chairs met and the PT and OT, and we said, we need to settle down and just freeze our tuition. It's been a tough year for students. It's a tough year because of COVID and everything else. And they really listened. And so our tuition will be the same next year as it is this year.
And we can share that tuition information with you. Did I send that to you, Gerald? I think you're still muted.
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay, if not, we can send that to you because it does allow you to make some comparisons. Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention about employment is that the word is sort of out that we have some high quality OT students in the area. And so I get a lot of employment requests for like respite care for families, after school daycare for kids with special needs. Gosh, I can't even tell you how many I've sent out this year. And so there are a lot of those part-time opportunities that come up, and those folks reach out to us knowing that there needs to be flexibility. So we have a ton of students that do that kind of, after school care, respite care, which is great OT experience. And so we do get quite a few of those sort of opportunities that come our way for people who want kind of part-time work.
And the same happens for OT jobs. Once they're graduated, they're emailing us. Send us out to our grads.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're at a faith-based institution. University of Mary continues that. We are a faith-based, we're values-driven. When I have people that come from around the nation to speak to help prepare our students for the national certification exam, they say, your students are the most respectful group of students I come in and talk to. And so it's how we treat one another. It's how we treat our patients in the future. One of the things as we move into changing or formalizing as the St. Gianna School of Health Sciences, we are really wanting our students to care for their patients. Healthcare is a business, and we all know and have bad stories about healthcare. And we want to put caring and joy back into being a healthcare provider. And how can we do that? We take a lot of our own education of our faculty very, very seriously. The faculty have gone on a mission, on a pilgrimage to look at dignity of medicine. And we went to Dachau and Nuremberg, but we also went to Lourdes, France, and what happens when there is dignity. I just went to the Catholic Medical Association conference at Dr. Kitzenberg, talking about the joy of medicine and how do we love our patients and how do we bring that forward. And so many of our students are not Catholic. I would say probably in OT more than half. I would say far more than half. But it is faith-filled and it is value-driven. And so you will get that in your education. We start class with prayer or reflection or just stop and that moderation. Let's just take a minute here and take a breath. We don't need to be running constantly. Lots of different things that we bring spirituality in and how do we address it with clients. And it is a research topic for a lot of us. But you will continue that faith-based education similar to what you experience at Carroll College. You guys have two of our past employees, Chip Hinton and Mike McMahon. They're good people.
Yeah, we hear a lot from them. They're working on marketing and recruitment and all those things. Definitely are shaking things up, making things happen. So that's great.
I believe Mike McMahon is now Dr. McMahon. So
yeah, I think you're right.
Just finished, yes. But good people, and very much like the rest of the people that we have at UMary.
Okay, are there any other questions, student questions? I see Abby, you're listening in. This is a great chance.
Is anybody a senior and looking to still find a program, or we? No, doesn't look like it. Okay. If you're a junior, take a look at that priority admissions, and you can give Dr. K a call, or you can give me a call, and we can help walk you through that as well if you want to get that off your plate so you know where you're headed and ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would eliminate the need to do OT cast, that whole application, the whole interview. It just sets your path. So that's a nice option. A nice option.
So
Can you
I-
go ahead, Helen.
I've got one more question.
Yes.
What shadowing experiences would you recommend for OT?
I think really any shadowing is good. We just want to make sure that when you're applying to OT, you know what OT is, right?
Yeah.
And so I would actually recommend a variety. Make sure you've done like some inpatient, some outpatient, some adults, some pediatrics. Again, we're not being super strict on that right now because a lot of clinics aren't allowing volunteers in to observe. And if that's the case, we understand. We want to make sure that our sites are secure for our clinical rotations more so than observation hours. So if you're having trouble making those connections, let us know. And there's even AOT even has like some videos you can watch, things like that. So we can get creative if you're having trouble finding those sites. Yep.
Sounds good.
The other thing I was going to say, if any of you are ever in Billings, we would be happy to have you come and tour and just see our location, meet our faculty. There's always students hanging around, unless it's Friday afternoon and then the place is like empty. But, feel free to set up a time to come and visit. If you're in the area, we'd love to meet you in person and show you around.
Okay, well, thanks to the folks from the University of Mary for sharing their time with us. And it's useful for me as well as the OT advisor, and certainly for the students to hear from you and from a student there at your program. And as I said before, this is being recorded and I'll post it. Some students probably couldn't join us just because of scheduling, so more will be hearing it, and hopefully we'll be able to send some students from Carroll to your program, because at least I'm not aware of any that have gone there, at least during the time that I've been advising. So we need to change that and continue to work with you.
And feel free to share my email as well with anyone that has questions, and I'd be happy to connect with them.
Okay, well, with that, I'll say thanks, and we'll
Thank
keep
you.
in touch.
Thank you.
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Yeah.